You know that empty corner in your apartment? Maybe it's next to the washing machine or out on a covered balcony, and you've probably thought to yourself, I really should do something with that space. Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to completely change how you look at that unused square footage, because we aren't talking about tossing some extra storage bins there today. No, we're talking about turning that tiny, overlooked little area into a legitimate, low-overhead micro business. And we're going to do it using a really simple, proven blueprint for growing white oyster mushrooms right at home. So to guide us, we're going to unpack this master blueprint today. It beautifully details the whole shebang, everything from the exact supplies you'll need right down to the actual business plan you should follow. Now, whenever you look at a wild idea like urban farming, the absolute first question that pops into your head is usually, wait, can I actually do this? Is this realistic for me? Well, by the time we finish breaking down this visual guide, you're going to see that the answer is a resounding yes. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We're going from dirt to dollars here. Number 1, setting up your space. 2, the growing process. 3, daily care and conditions. And 4, your mushroom business plan.
Part 1, setting up your space and the low barrier to entry.
Now, the physical requirements of starting a business usually feel like a massive obstacle, right? But just look at how basic this list is. To get started, your material checklist is basically just grain spawn, fruiting bags, and a substrate, like straw or sawdust. Then you grab a clean bucket or drum, some 70% alcohol and gloves for sanitation, a basic rack with shelves, a spray bottle or a small humidifier, and a thermometer and hygrometer to track your climate. That's literally it. And as for the location, we're talking about the most humble spots in your home: a covered balcony, a laundry area, a utility room, or just a really clean storage corner. The only strict rules for the space are that it absolutely must have good airflow and zero direct sunlight. If you've got a shady, breezy little corner, congratulations, you've got a farm.
Section 2, the growing process, or biology in action. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the biological magic behind it all. I want to slow down the pace just a bit here so we can look at these 6 incredibly manageable steps. First up, you prepare your substrate. You pasteurize your straw or sawdust, then drain it and let it cool. Second, you pack that prepared substrate right into your fruiting bags. Step 3 is absolutely crucial. Using super clean hands and tools, you mix in your white oyster grain spawn. Then, step 4 is the waiting game, incubation. You just keep the bags clean and warm for 14 to 21 days until the contents turn completely white with mycelium. Step 5 is when the magic actually becomes visible. You start the fruiting phase by cutting small openings in the bags, giving them fresh air, high humidity, and indirect light. And finally, step 6, harvest time. You want to pick those beautiful clusters when the caps are fresh and just slightly curled. It's this incredibly precise, predictable life cycle, straight from pasteurization to picking.
Moving on to part 3, daily care and conditions for creating the microclimate.
While those 6 steps are super straightforward, the environment you provide during the fruiting phase is totally non-negotiable. First up, temperature. You need to keep your growing space right between 22 and 28 degrees Celsius. Think about the vibe you're trying to mimic here. You're basically creating the feeling of a mildly warm, shady forest floor right inside your apartment. And just as important as the temperature is the moisture. You've got to maintain a humidity level between 85 and 95%. You know, mushrooms are mostly water, so this incredibly high moisture environment is an absolute requirement if you want a successful, heavy yield. If the air gets too dry, your crop is just going to stall out. To round out these environmental pillars, you've got to ensure your bags receive indirect light and fresh airflow daily. Mushrooms actually breathe oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, just like we do. So without that fresh airflow, they just won't grow properly. It's all about mimicking Mother Nature, maybe just right next to your dryer. So what does this actually mean for your day-to-day routine? Well, consider this list your absolute non-negotiable daily care routine to protect your crop. Every single day, you're going to mist or run a humidifier as needed to nail that 85 to 95% moisture mark. You'll check the airflow. You'll inspect your bags and immediately remove any that look contaminated, which protects the rest of the batch. You'll harvest exactly on time so the mushrooms don't pass their prime, and you'll keep the entire area meticulously clean. It really only takes a few minutes a day, but that strict consistency is exactly what guarantees your yield.
Which brings us to part 4, your mushroom business plan, turning caps into cash.
So the crucial point is, we've mastered the space, the biology, and the climate. Now it's time to pivot from an amateur grower into a profitable seller. Check out this continuous earning loop. This right here is the absolute secret to a successful microfarm. It's a simple recurring cycle. You buy the spawn, you prepare your bags, you grow the mushrooms, you harvest, and you pack and sell. Then you just take a small portion of those profits and reinvest them right back into step 1. Grasping this loop is exactly how you turn a fun hobby into a steady, recurring stream of income.
Let's look at the specific business tactics recommended by our blueprint. First, keep your overhead low. Start out with just 20 to 30 bags on one single, small rack. Now, the real secret to making this a business is the second point. Stagger your batches every week. If you start all your bags on the same day, you're going to have a mountain of mushrooms all at once and then nothing for weeks. Staggering ensures a consistent weekly supply for your buyers. And you want to make freshness your primary selling point. Don't wait around for a storefront, just pre-sell directly to your neighbors, your friends, and local online buyers. Take clear, beautiful product photos and post them in local Facebook groups. Offer fresh, attractive packs that encourage repeat weekly orders. And finally, treat this like a real business right from day one. Meticulously track your costs, your yield, and your sales. And this brilliantly illustrates the golden rule of the microfarm hustle. Start small, learn the process, and expand only after you can grow consistently and sell regularly. It is incredibly tempting to just fill a whole room with racks on day one, right? But this grounded advice right here is what separates successful small businesses from really expensive, overwhelming hobbies. Prove the concept on one rack first.
So, we've unpacked the exact steps, the daily routines, and the business strategies. You've seen how simple the supplies actually are. You know the exact microclimate you need to create. You literally have the space in your apartment right now, and you've got the blueprint to make it happen. So I'll leave you with this question. You have the space, you have the blueprint. What's stopping you from growing your own business today?